Nigerian evacuees have been waiting at Warsaw Chopping Airport ahead of their flight to Abuja. The flight is expected to depart at 8 a.m. and arrive in Abuja around 3 p.m. today. For an update on the evacuation so far, we'll bring in Rise International Correspondent Adefemi Akinsanya, who joins us from the airport. Adefemi, glad to have you join us. We know that in a little bit above 44 minutes now, the flight should be taking off. But have they all checked in and are they all at the airport?
Do you know what? First and foremost, good morning to you. Thank you for coming to me. Yes, they are all at the airport, but even more people are at the airport now. So yesterday, just to go over the numbers again, the Air Peace flight offers 180 seats total, and in terms of passenger seats. And so yesterday, when that flight was cancelled, 163 passengers had been given boarding passes, which leaves a shortfall of 17 places. So today, when people started showing up to the airport, when more people started showing up to the airport, there was still a feeling of anticipation. You can still get one of the 17 seats. However, more than 17 people have shown up. We're seeing queues, including more than 30 people. So the Nigerian authorities here are saying that what they're going to do is prioritize travelers with children and prioritize women so that they can get onto this boarding flight. However, just a few moments ago, one of the Polish ladies who are checking in the passenger is tallying the list of passengers from yesterday and those that have shown up today, and 7 people who got boarding passes yesterday have not shown up at the airport today. And this is part and parcel of a real issue in terms of reluctance of Nigerians not wanting to evacuate on these flights, despite being given boarding passes, despite actually crossing over into security yesterday. There seems to be a situation which is keeping Nigerians away from taking this flight. So, being that this is still quite a tense situation, just over my shoulder, you'd still be able to see the queue of people who weren't here yesterday, but are hoping to get a boarding pass and get on the flight that will be leaving in a few moments there.
Well, Adefemi, this is really a tricky situation, and we know this flight was supposed to take off yesterday. Why wasn't it able to fly? What were some of the factors that caused that delay?
Yesterday, it was all about lateness. When the flight that we were on came into Poland, it landed just minutes after 9 a.m. And the plan was that the Nigerian evacuees should have already been at the airport, already checked in, because they were supposed to fly at 10 a.m. yesterday. But at 9 a.m. when we arrived and when we entered the check-in area, there were just 2 passengers, a set of twins, who we spoke to. They were given forms to fill out their details, and then we headed to the airport, which headed to the hotel, which is around 9 kilometers away, to find the rest of the evacuees. And they filled onto the coaches and they came to the airport. Long story short, with all of the queues here and all of the delays, it became a situation where these passengers were running more than 5 hours behind schedule. So at 1:30 p.m., we have seen documentation that shows that the charter airline sent a message to Air Peace saying there's no way we can legally service this flight. The duty hours for a crew is a maximum of 11 hours. And being that the crew had resumed for duty at 8 a.m., now that everybody had turned up at 2, there was no way they'd be able to service another check-in period and a flight all the way to Nigeria within that 11-hour allotted time. So they had to cancel that flight according to aviation regulations. So this morning, it was a far different story. As early as 4 a.m., the Nigerian evacuees had arrived at this airport and waited till around 6 a.m., which is when check-in started. Now, most of them have gotten their boarding passes and have already crossed into security. However, there is a situation that, first and foremost, 7 of the people who turned up yesterday and got boarding passes haven't arrived today, and there's still a big crowd of people hoping to take advantage of those new spaces. But this does lead to a greater question of why is it that Nigerians are still reluctant to return home? Why are they choosing to stay in a country they do not have a full legal clearance to stay in, as opposed to returning home and fleeing this war?
Femi, we do know that you spoke with the Nigerian ambassador to Poland earlier. Do we know the number of Nigerian refugees in Poland as opposed to the number of people who are flying back today?
Thank you, Kenneth. So the number of Nigerian refugees in Poland, according to Nigeria, which is what we were told yesterday by the ambassador, is that there are 2,255 Nigerians who crossed into Poland as refugees fleeing the Russia-Ukraine conflict. 2,255. Of that number, just 600 are registered with the Nigerian embassy in Poland. And again, underneath that, it was less than 300 people who had made any type of effort in terms of giving their passport details and making it clear that they wish to be evacuated. That number falls again when we look at the people who now are going to be able to be boarding this flight. 165 people showed up yesterday and were given boarding passes before that flight was cancelled. And now 7 of those 165 have not shown up. However, there are more than 30 people here still stood. So even if all of these people get onto this 180-seater flight, without a doubt, there will be Nigerian evacuees who will be left behind today, and it'll be unclear when a new plane will be sent to take them. But in the bigger situation, as you rightfully asked, 2,255 Nigerian refugees crossed into Poland, according to Polish authorities. 600 are known to the Nigerian embassy, which means that there are 1,600 people where you don't know where they are, unclear of why they have chosen not to make themselves available to authorities. 2 reasons, though, from the people that I've spoken to both yesterday and today, 2 reasons have been given for people's reluctance. It's first and foremost, they don't know what they'll be coming back to when they return to Nigeria, and that is probably people who are not students. Students are literally going home and to be reunited with their families. So one of the reasons is definitely economics. They're not sure what they're going to do when they return to Nigeria. But secondly, it's more of a humanitarian issue. Some people are reluctant to leave because they still have loved ones trapped in Sumy, trapped in Ukraine, people who are still trying to cross borders into Eastern European countries. And that is another reason why people have chosen to stay behind and not take advantage of this flight. So it's a very sticky situation, and it's unclear whether or not this is reflective of the evacuation experience for different people in different countries. But certainly for Nigerians, in amongst the people who are desperate to leave and reach Nigeria, there's still people who'd rather stay in this uncertainty than return home.
Great job you're doing, Adefemi. But before we let you go, what can you tell us about the evacuation plans for other Eastern European countries?
So it looks as though by evening time today, there should be 3 flights that would have successfully landed in Abuja. This flight, which is leaving from Warsaw, Poland, should be arriving around 2:30 to 3 p.m. local time in Nigeria. And flights that are leaving from Budapest in Hungary should be arriving a few hours after that, so around 4 p.m. And that's also hoping to be the arrival time again in Abuja of flights leaving Bucharest in Hungary. So 3 flights are expected to return to Nigeria today, 1 from Warsaw, 1 from Budapest, and 1 from Bucharest. And we're hoping that this Warsaw flight should be arriving in Nigeria around 3 p.m. local time.
Adefemi, great job you're doing there. Thank you so much for joining us this morning here on Daybreak.